Am I the a-hole for not moving out of my apartment so my brother can have it? I, female 23, have an older brother, 32. I moved out of my parents' house earlier than him and found a small place for myself that is really close to my job. The place is not the biggest. It's a one-bedroom apartment, but it is enough for one person and rent is very cheap, so I'm extremely happy with it. I put a lot of work into it and made sure it's my little happy space. Recently, my brother started staying over now and then. I don't have a problem with that. He works the night shift and my place is also closer to his job than my parents' house. The problem began when he started bringing more and more of his stuff to my place. He brought his PS4, started gaming in my living room, and is overall just being a terribly inconsiderate guest and treats me like our mom. I brought this up with my parents and my dad suggested that I should let my brother live there and get myself a new apartment. He said I should look for a bigger place because my brother makes less money and he could afford my place and I could find something better. But I don't want a bigger apartment. I have no plans to have a family or partner where I would need anything more than one bedroom. And I put so much work into personalizing my apartment that this feels so unfair. My parents said I'd be an a-hole for both, kicking my brother out now for staying over and not giving him this place. Is that true? Edit with some additional info. My brother does not pay rent to me. He used to stay here for only a couple of days, but it's been turning into weeks. Edit 2. I did contact my landlord as of today. She hasn't responded yet, but she's nice, so I hope she'll understand my situation. Also, additional info. I didn't know my parents or my dad would react like this. I thought he'd help me talk to him. We don't have a bad relationship. I'm trying to figure out why he thinks my brother should have an apartment too, but my dad hasn't been responsive since that conversation. Let's see what the community judges. CatMom22 says, not the a-hole. Please do not let your family bully you into giving up the thing you worked hard for. Your brother is a grown frickin' man, 32 years old, and can definitely find another place if he needs to, and can't be a considerate guest. That is your space, and you need to put your foot down, have a strong backbone, because clearly your parents are going to side with him once you make it clear you aren't giving him the place. Also, why would you need something bigger? What you have works for you. Again, don't let anyone bully you or manipulate you. He's 30. Let the man figure his own crap out. He isn't your responsibility. If you need him out, kick his butt out. Do Laugh 3852 chimes in. I can't decide if your brother has always been your parents' favorite, or if they are just so desperate to get a 30-year-old man out of their house that they're willing to screw you over in the process. Either way, not the a-hole, and get that parasite out of your happy place ASAP. Now for an update. Hi. First, I want to say thank you for all the encouragement in the comments and by last post. It took me longer to deal with this than I expected, but finally, I think I found a solution. Several people asked for an update, so here it is. I attempted to talk to my father again, but at this point, I am assuming that a lot of the comments were right about them just wanting me to deal with my brother at their place. I took time off my work schedule to pack his crap together and waited for him to crash here after work again, since I still needed the key back. Looking back, probably not the best move, but I was stressed and tired. It was an awful fight, but it did end with him eventually leaving my apartment and returning my keys. The reason I didn't get the locks changed is because my landlord reminded me that this could be very expensive, and she wouldn't cover the cost for me. It's been several days and my brother has not contacted me since, nor attempted to enter my apartment. I'm still considering changing the locks and might do so soon with my landlord's permission and covering the cost myself, but it seems I have my space back. The thing that really bothers me is how my relationship with my parents suddenly suffered so much from this. My initial reaction, when I asked them to help me throw out my brother, and my dad responding with the apartment switch, was that they couldn't be serious. Apparently they were. My mom did talk to me this week and said since I am on good terms with my landlord, I could figure something out. It's completely ridiculous and almost comically evil at this point. I told her that it's not how renting a space works. I don't even know if this is pure entitlement or ego. Doesn't matter though. I decided to lower contact with them over this until they find out what they did wrong. Regardless if they do or don't, my family are not the main characters of my life, and I am done with being a doormat to them. It took some encouragement to stand up for myself, and I want to thank everyone who gave it to me. A deleted account had a quick comment. You handled this just right. I would at least find out what changing the lock or rekeying it would cost. You can usually just change a part of it, and it's fairly easy to do it yourself. It's a valuable life skill. I took my own lock from home to home for a few years. It's critical to stand up for your rights and defend the area you have worked so hard to establish. It makes sense that you don't want your brother to remain a guest in your apartment indefinitely given his rude behavior thus far. The recommendation from your parents that you vacate your apartment and move into something larger is unfair and disregards your personal preferences and needs. The a-hole in this situation is not you. You have the right to decide who stays there and for how long because it is your space. Your brother should be responsible for finding his own housing because he is an adult. Your happiness and right to privacy should not be compromised by your parents' apparent favoritism or desperate attempts to evict your brother from their home. It's admirable that you confronted your brother and held your ground, even though it resulted in a fight. It's a good step to get your keys back and have your apartment to yourself once more. It's reasonable to feel discouraged by the strain on your relationship with your parents. It makes sense to cut off communication with them until they recognize the consequences of their actions and admit wrongdoing. On to the next story, looking for judgment. Am I the a-hole for showing favoritism for my daughter and financially hurting my son? My ex-wife, 36 female, and I, 36 male, have been divorced for 7 years now. We have twins, both 17, female, male. My wife and I are the stereotype of high school sweethearts. I'm more of a geek. She was a cheerleader. My son takes after my wife and my daughter takes after me. When they were younger, I gave them the option of allowance. They could either spend the money on what they wanted, or I could walk them through investments and savings. My wife was all for this at the time. We explained that they each have a set amount of money that we have put away for future schooling, as well as a car fund. At first, both of my kids decided to invest it, and I started to show them how to and the risk involved. My son put his into a very risky investment, against my advice, and ended up losing it and decided not to do it anymore, within a few weeks. My daughter started off rough but quickly got the hang of it, playing with different investments and companies. She has been in the positive most weeks. The issue is that due to this, my daughter has saved up more money than her brother. She also likes to spend most of her time over at my house versus my son over at my ex-wife's house. My daughter's interests are more minimalistic when it comes to most things and does not spend a lot of money. She will when she finds things she likes. She is not into fashion, rarely puts on makeup. When she does, it is very light. Bought a used but nice car, etc. They just got their acceptance letters for college, and she will be able to pick any of her choices due to grades and her savings, plus our contributions. My son, on the other hand, spends most of his money when he gets it, always has new clothes constantly, bunch of shoes, bought a new, very expensive car with payments, goes out all the time, and spends everything he gets. My son is upset because he can't go to the college he wants because he would need to get a loan, and with what I make, he doesn't qualify for much. My ex says I need to stop favoring my daughter and financially hurting my son and just paying for his college. Among other things, her and her side of the family are all calling me an a-hole for not paying, because you easily could. I told him that they had a chance when he was younger and he didn't listen. I also pointed out the fact that if he had saved his money, he would have also been able to go where he wanted. He needed to get a job to cover costs if he wanted to go, and life was about choices. Early ETA. I did keep asking him to try again throughout the years, but he didn't care. I gave up almost 2 years ago when he said he wanted to live almost full-time at his mom's house. We had an argument that made me back off. I didn't just stop and drop it when he was really young. Edit 2. We did not give him his college fund. He has enough money in his college fund that he can attend a community college for 4 years or a good college for 2. Nothing fancy or big. The money that was invested was allowance, or spare money. My daughter would use birthday money, Christmas money, allowance, or any extra chore money. His fund was never used in any way other than for school. It is safe and locked up. Allowance was free to use money. The school and car fund were separate and not accessible by the kids. I'm not bragging, but I could send them to the best colleges for as many years as they want and fund their lives comfortably. Edit from a comment. Question on what I meant by among other things. Basically, unlimited schooling, backpacking trip across Asia, paying his car off, lodging near campus, and living money were all brought up, mostly by my ex-wife. She has not put anything towards these funds. The community has some thoughts. Teal Canned Trip says, "You're the a-hole. You set him up to fail. You are a crappy parent allowing a child to make adult decisions with no safety net. You designed a system to reward the kid who was like you and give just desserts to the one like your wife, instead of trying to instill good values in them both. You have been actively hurting your son for years. If they are making bad decisions that require adult approval like car loans and investments, then you are making bad decisions. If he is spending money unwisely, stop giving him free money instead of holding it over him later. It's a shame you can't just divorce your son. It looks like you found the next best way to permanently hurt him." ThinAd689 chimes in, "How am I reading so much not the a-hole? Do some math. He gave up convincing his son 2 years ago at age 15 after trying throughout the years, meaning he did this when they were 10 to 13 years old. He tried to make 13 years old into investment bankers, let his son sink money, and expected them to have knowledge about the long-term financial consequences. They were children, and OP is blaming his son for making wrong financial decisions. Again, OP is blaming his son for having made wrong financial decisions at age 13 or less. You're the a-hole." Expensive Save 5216 has a vote. ETA, you're the a-hole. I doubt this will be a popular opinion, but I think you're the a-hole in general. Right now you have a choice of helping your kid get a start on his adult life, and you're using it to make some sort of ideological point instead of helping him. Yes, we can say that the actual child should have made better financial choices, but right now you're going for the win. The kid, like you, is the winner, while the one like your ex gets to work. It is 2023. How much does he need to work to pay for school? And thanks to your income, he can't even get financial aid. Make it up to your daughter, but help your son succeed in life by helping him with college. It seems like you can afford it. You just want to be right instead. Update. Hello all. Hope all is well. Let's get down to it. So my original Am I the A-hole was about showing favoritism for my daughter and financially hurting my son. The comments went way far from that topic. It was interesting for me. For the people who sent me aggressive messages, not cool. Some questions to be addressed. Why would I just not pay for everything? I am trying to teach my kids about financial responsibility. Money has value, and nothing is given without work. I bet if my son posted his view, you would call him entitled a-hole. 2. But they were so young when they started gambling with money in the stock market. True, but they have grown up since then. Yes, they are still kids, but maturity does not just develop at 25 like some people on here think. 3. You gave them their college fund to waste. No, college fund has always been secured and untouched unless I was putting money in it. They used allowance money. 4. Why are you not giving him a good start in life? He has a better start than the majority of people. So I talked to my daughter. She said she would be upset if I just gave him the money. She worked hard and values her time and effort. I agreed that would be a bad idea, but we came up with 3 options. I added a 4th, to present him and my ex-wife. All of them had rules attached, and the same amount would be given to my daughter. Rules, grades, housing rules, and behavior. He sells his car and some of his shoes collection to save money and put it towards the fund, and I will help him again to make a passive income. He picks a lower college that is more cost-effective but still a good school. He gets a job, and I will match his pay. I just give him the money, but as a loan, 0% interest, but he has to pay it back in a timely manner. Money, if paid back, will go back to him in the future. Down payment or wedding or something. Ex and family put in the difference in the account. I laid it all out for him. My ex and him did not like it, so I asked my ex why she is pushing this so much and why she has not put any money into the account since we originally opened it. There were excuses, and she finally said, "I have to save money to my daughter," 6, almost 7 female, "unless you want to set up a fund for her as well." I'm setting things up with my youngest daughter, 3 female, the same way I did with my twins. I'm not doing it for her daughter. Anyway, I have given him a few weeks to figure out what he wants. He acknowledged that I was right. He was unfair to his sister about the way he went about things and will do better for the future. He picked a modified version of option 2. He is still going to his number 4 pick, is looking for a job, sold some shoes, and said he will be responsible for housing costs. He apologized to me and his sister. I hope he keeps working hard towards his goals. The situation is complex, but based on the information provided, it seems that you're being judged without considering your good intentions. While teaching your children about financial responsibility is important, the execution may not have been perfect. Expecting a 13-year-old to make sound investment decisions may have been unrealistic, and it's concerning that you stopped guiding your son 2 years ago. However, your daughter learned from her mistakes and became financially savvy, which has given her more options for college. While it may be tempting to financially support your son so he can attend the college of his choice, it's important to consider the long-term consequences and avoid creating a dependency on you. It's unfortunate that your ex-wife and her family aren't understanding the situation. In summary, you had good intentions and were teaching your children about financial responsibility. It's important to revisit the options presented to your son. You have open discussions with him and your ex-wife, and find a resolution that balances supporting him while still allowing him to take responsibility for his own financial choices. Overall, you're not the a-hole in this situation. Let's see if the community had some more comments. Putrid Awareness 5339 says, "It's unfortunate your ex had an ulterior motive, but glad your son, even if reluctantly, came around to why you can't just hand him money when he was reckless with it. Hopefully, this will become a lesson about saving, investing, and spending on fun things, because I truly believe the best times are when you balance both in your life. Congrats on the resolution." Jitsu Fit Chick chimes in, "Yeah, it was clear, even from the other post, that not the a-hole. You want your kids to be self-sufficient, and just giving him money without working for it won't teach him anything. Otherwise, he's going to expect you to bail him out, and it definitely isn't fair for either one of your daughters. Especially your 17-year-old, because she worked really, really hard. And good for her. I don't know why people didn't see that in the other post. You weren't financially hurting your son, you were trying to help him before he said he didn't want the help. Not the a-hole." Thanks for stopping by our lounge today. We hope you liked what you heard. If you have some thoughts, please feel free to leave comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on our next story. Until then, have a good one.